What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Welcome back. It is First Wives Club, Season 1, Episode 5. Um, so the ladies are on their way upstate for a hip-hop producers party by the name of Beats. Now, Beats, the history of Beats is he started off working for Derek, aka Hazel's husband, Malik Yoba. And Derek did him dirty too, stole his money, had him working for him, and wasn't paying him how he was supposed to be paying him. So him and Hazel sort of know each other. Um, what's her name? Marcel. I think her name's Marcel. The reality lady show is hooking her up with a meeting, but they're going up to his house in upstate New York. They're on this little private party bus, um, so that they can meet up with him. Ari is there, honey. She misunderstood when she said we're going for a business meeting. Child, she got on a business suit. The rest of them are dressed for a night at the club. Bree is there. Um, Bree, on the other hand, her and Gary are still going through it. She done left the kids with Gary on short notice, and he is like, "Listen, I have a life too. You can't just be leaving me with the kids without any kind of notice." And she was like, "Oh, really? Well, what is it that you're doing, Gary? Why are you so busy? What you so busy doing?" And he was like, "Listen, just know that I got other stuff going on, okay?" So they get to the party, and Lord, they turn over their cell phones because in these little high end parties, you got to turn over your cell phones and stuff. I've been asked for my cell phone a time or two, and um, they get to the party, and of course, it's just everything, everywhere, all kinds of stuff. Food trucks and neon lights and alpacas and just all kinds of crazy stuff. They got a little 9-year-old boy yodeling over some technotronic music. I mean, it's a lot, okay? They do make Ari change into something more appropriate for the party, okay? And it turns into like this whole, they have this shaman. Here we go with the shaman again. We have this shaman situation, and it turns into like this whole thing. And they start feeling like, you know what? I feel like we are in the middle of some sort of like religious cult situation. Like it was really getting real extra. One person came and asked, gave Hazel some teas. Hazel was like, "Why the hell not?" She drank the tea, child. She drank 2 teas. I think Bree done drank some of the tea too. And then they see one of Ari's ex boyfriends from law school. I think his name was Winston, and they went to law school together. So the guy that they were there to come and see, come to find out, he's been in a spiritual retreat for the past 10 days, and he ain't talking to nobody. So he's having this party, but he has no intention of meeting with anybody, including Hazel. So of course now Hazel's looking at Marcel like, really? You really? Like, you brought me all the way up here, promised me a meeting, and it ain't gonna happen. And that's when she drank the tea, because at that point she was over it. Because she was like, well, hell, I don't have no reason to be here if if I'm not going to get to meet with him. I don't have no other reason for being here. So later on in the evening, the tea done kicked in for Bree. Child, Bree is dancing like she on P Valley somewhere, doing splits and dips and all kinds of stuff at the party. Of course, she gonna pay for that in the morning. And one of the shaman comes up to her and says, I know what you seek, my love. Follow me. Come with me. I know what it is that you're seeking, what you're looking for. Come with me. And so they go off. And then Beats' assistant comes and gets comes to get Hazel and says, "Listen, I he said he'll meet with you, so come on." And so Marcel was like, "Come on, let's go." She was like, "Nah, I'm gonna go by myself. I got this. I can handle it." So she ends up going to meet with Beats, who ends up being Method Man. So shout out to another guest cameo this episode. Ends up being Method Man. And Method Man was like, "Listen, what can I do you for?" And so she's giving him the whole, "Listen, I would love to hook up with you. I'm excited about you wanting to work on my album. Like, I'm ready to make it happen." And he was like, "I find something interesting. When I was still living in my mama house, while your husband was stealing my money, you ain't had nothing to say. Like, you didn't intervene. You didn't hit me up. You didn't look out for me. Now that he done you dirty, now it's yes, yes, yes. I always knew you. I always knew you were." And she was like, "Listen, you right. I wasn't always the nicest person. You are absolutely correct." She said, "But at the end of the day, we could both get back at Derek. If you work on my album and it becomes a banger, which I know it will be, we'll both get our revenge on Derek. He was like, all right, well, let's do it. She said, okay, great. He said, no, right now, let's do it. And he starts playing a beat. He hands her a microphone. He was like, freestyle. Show me what you got, Hazel. Show me what you got. And you can see she's like, what? He was like, come on, show me what you got. And so she tells him, she said, listen, let me tell you something. She said, first and foremost, I don't have to prove shit. Like, I am Hazel. You know who I am and you know what I can do. So if this is your attempt to sort of, embarrass me or something, don't worry about it, because at the end of the day, people have always disappointed me. But the one person that I could always rely on? Me. I could always rely on me. So thanks but no thanks. Peace out. And so she leaves him there. And I was like, okay, Hazel. I started to see Hazel getting a little bit of her confidence, getting a little bit of her swagger back. Okay. Now, Ari, she done damn near threw up on Winston. Okay, they see each other. I guess the tea didn't agree with her stomach, honey. And she done damn near threw up on Winston. And she's sitting there talking to Winston. I mean, after he got her out of she did actually throw up on him. I'm sorry. And after he got out of there, they're sitting down talking. And, she said, what are you doing here? He said, Beats is an investor in one of my restaurants, and come to find out he dropped out of law school because it just wasn't for him. But he is a very successful businessman. He has restaurants and things like that. And, he said, listen, the one thing I do regret about leaving law school is leaving you. I regret leaving you, and her, and now Bree done had this tea, and she done been enlightened by the shaman, so she's being very honest, and she's sitting there telling Winston all of Ari's business about how her husband, how her husband don't even be giving it up, and that she ain't really that happy in her marriage, and Ari was like, girl, don't be telling my business. But she eventually ends up telling him, listen, my husband, she said, the one thing, me and you had fun together. Me and my husband we don't have fun. And I don't even think that he cares that we don't have fun. Like, I just don't think that that's a big deal for him. Bree later on is walking through the hall, and she thinks that she sees Gary with another woman. It's a whole hallucination, but they have this whole conversation, and he says to her, he said, listen, I don't even understand what you're tripping about. You are serving me with divorce papers. You don't want to be with me. Like, we've been separated for 6 months, and I've been begging you to let us work this out. But everything has to be about you on your terms. You don't want to listen to what I have to say. You don't want my opinion about anything. And so at the end of the day, I don't know what you want from me. So she pushes him, and she pushes him into a statue with a knife, with like a sword. And she thinks, he's bleeding, and he's like, help me, help me. She's like, oh my God, and he ends up dying. So of course now she thinks she didn't kill her husband, right? She's got blood all over her. But again, it's a hallucination, the damn tea. Ari finds a bedroom, because they're spending the night, and it's a big ass mansion. So she finds one of the bedrooms, and Winston comes in there, and she was like, yeah, I'm probably one of the only people here that's gonna actually go to sleep, and they talk a little bit, and he getting ready to leave, and she calls him back, and baby, they gets it in. So the next morning she wakes up and he's gone, so she thinks she was dreaming too. Bree comes in, thinks, she's like, oh my God, I killed him. And Ari's like, girl, what is wrong with you? You hallucinating. Look at you. There's no blood on you. You're fine. And she was like, oh my gosh, you're right. And then Hazel comes through, and Hazel was like, yo, this was a waste of time. I'm sorry that I even brought y'all up here. Let's go. So they end up on a party bus by themselves going back. I think they missed the main bus because they were all mad at Marcel when she was like, let's go. And they were like, whatever. And all of them, are talking about how horrible it was. And Ari was like, well, I show him. She said, I even hallucinated, that me and Winston had sex, And next thing you know, baby, she get a text message from Winston talking about I'm so glad, I don't know when the next time me and you can enjoy some time like this together again. And he sends her a video of her and her bra panties, honey. I said, ooh. So that was the episode. It was a pretty good episode. So we'll see what happens next, honey. I think they done got me hooked, y'all. They done got me hooked. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.